Hi everybody, Lance from Permanent Records here. I usually reserve this channel to share good news and fun stories about records and record collections and share some of my favorite music with you, but right now doesn't seem like a good time to be sharing that kind of content. As you all must be aware of, the situation here in LA is really, really bad with the wildfires happening all over the city. Luckily, we here at Permanent Records have been spared. The Roadhouse and the record store are still safe, intact, and standing, and we're about 10 or 15 miles away from the nearest fire in Eaton Canyon up near Altadena and Pasadena. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for all of our friends here in LA. A lot of them have lost their homes. Some very close friends, people who've played shows at the Roadhouse, and regular customers and friends from, since we moved here. I won't name any names. If you follow us on social media, you could see some GoFundMes of some of our closest friends that have lost their homes and all of their belongings in the fires. But that said, I wanted to make a quick video just to let everybody out there know that I personally am doing okay. The majority of our staff is doing okay. We are using the Roadhouse at the moment to house some folks that have been displaced by the fire. We are closed. The venue is closed temporarily while we figure things out. Now does not seem like a time for a celebratory event anyway. So that's what's happening there. I just started opening the record store again yesterday. We started posting records for sale on Instagram again yesterday. And we're donating 25% of all the proceeds of sales that we get at permanentrecordsla.com, in store and on Instagram, to Music Cares, an organization, a charitable organization that exists to help victims, especially musician and music industry victims of the fires. So yeah, I just thought I would share our experience here so far, because there's obviously a lot of news and a lot of rumors and misinformation also being spread about the situation here in LA. It is a very real and dangerous scenario, especially for the people within close proximity to the fires that are actively burning today. We are 6 days into this, and the first day of it, most of us were completely unprepared for what was going to happen. We knew that the dangerous windstorms were coming and that the potential for fires to start and spread was there, but no one could have predicted the magnitude in which this situation rapidly grew and exploded into. No one expected what has happened in Altadena and in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu and elsewhere to happen. We on the ground here, most of us became aware of the situation late Tuesday night, and it became very obvious Wednesday morning that it was a really, really terrible tragedy. Also, in addition to the damage that the fires have caused and potentially could continue to cause, there are looters. We know people who have had firsthand accounts of seeing looters in their neighborhood. There are people on the ground going into these devastated neighborhoods and neighboring areas trying to loot evacuated homes. It's absolutely a real thing. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The cause of the fires is still being investigated, and we won't know until after all of the dust has settled exactly what happened here. But I find it to be terribly disheartening and distracting to try to point fingers and place blame on someone before the damage has been done. It's still an active situation. So please spend your time helping not speculating as to why these fires started and why they continue to grow. It's a once in a lifetime windstorm situation that has caused these fires to spread the way that they have. And I guess lastly, I'd like to just encourage everyone to do what we've done. Keep working. Keep making sure that you, your friends, your family, and everyone and your neighbors are all safe and sound. And once you've done that, please make sure that you are being productive, proactive, and helping in any way that you possibly can. Um, and that extends beyond the victims of the fire. For now, we need to focus on the victims of the fire. In the coming weeks, months, and years, we need to make sure that the businesses that were lost locally can rebuild if they plan to rebuild. And we need to make sure that the businesses and people that made it through this fire can continue to do the great work that they do here in Los Angeles. It's very easy to forget in the chaos of the situation that not only are the victims who've lost their homes and all of their belongings being impacted, everyone in the neighboring communities are being impacted both mentally, physically in some cases, and financially. This is going to be a very major disaster, and the recovery is going to be long and hard for a lot of us involved. We here at the Roadhouse luckily are in a position to be able to help. So we will be hosting mutual aid and benefit shows and concerts. The details on that remain to be seen. We haven't figured that out, but we will be starting the planning of that once these fires start to get contained and extinguished. I guess, I don't know if it's less important to those of you in the vinyl community. Not only have some of our friends and family lost their homes and all of their belongings, we know a lot of people who've lost their entire record collections. And I say that kind of with a smile on my face because it doesn't seem like the most important thing in the world. It certainly is not at this time, but my heart goes out to the folks out there who've lost those kinds of collections, book collections, art collections, anything that they've spent their whole lives curating and collecting. It just breaks my heart to know that all of those relics have been lost in these fires. And it's nowhere near as important as the lives and the homes that were lost, of course. But it is important to those of you in the vinyl community that are watching this. I'm sure you can commiserate, or you can at least empathize with what it might feel like to have lost your entire record collection. One good friend lost 3,000 records, and I know three other folks just off the top of my head that lost their homes that I know had amazing record collections. In record collections, you have records from your friends. You have records that are family heirlooms, things that belong to your parents and great-grandparents and so on and so forth. And my heart goes out to them in every possible way. I think about that all the time. It makes it very, very difficult to continue doing just regular, everyday things. But here we are. We're going to rise above and be strong and move forward, and we're going to continue to do what we do. As I've said in a previous post on social media, I'm not a firefighter, and the firefighters don't want guys like me in the way. I am very, very proactive, and my first thought was, how can I get at that fire with a hose? Please let me up there. And it became very apparent very quickly that they do not want people in those impacted areas getting in the way, potentially hurting themselves and becoming more of a burden on the infrastructure that's in place. We don't need EMTs carrying people like me out of the disaster zone because I hurt myself not knowing how to extinguish a fire or to handle a fire hose or whatever. And we also don't need people crowding them out and keeping them from doing what they're doing. So we're going to do what we do best, which is buy, sell, and trade used vintage vinyl all day, every day. And we will be donating proceeds, a significant proceeds, 20% of the proceeds, 25% of all sales in the store, on Instagram, and at permanentrecordsla.com will go to help victims of the LA wildfires. Feel free to comment below with any questions you might have. I'm just spitballing here. None of this is scripted. I, as usual, am just talking off of the top of my head, and I thought it would be helpful for some of you out there to hear what we've been going through, what we're hearing from people on the ground in person in LA. And I really appreciate your sympathy and support. That's it for now. Again, feel free to comment any questions that you have. I'll do my best to answer them. I also encourage you to watch local news or listen to local radio. KCAL, CBS, Los Angeles is reporting on the situation 24/7 right now. And our local NPR affiliate, LAist.org, I believe, is reporting on the situation actively as well. So get your news and information from reliable, unbiased sources, and take care, y'all. Please and thank you. Be well.